from PCDN based in Medellin, Colombia, and we're delighted to have our next live stream of the Social Change Career Podcast with Brenda Okorogba, who is an award-winning service and learning experience designer, grant writer, facilitator, all-around changemaker who's been working for 9 years on ideating, designing, and delivering outcome-based programming for diverse leaders across many different sectors. She is known by the moniker Momentswithbren, her consultancy in Canada. Her activism is centered on socioeconomic security, education, gender equity, and collective prosperity. It's a wonderful vision. In 2018, Brenda was selected as a young leader to join a team of 100 gender advocates with YWCA Canada, and they went to do lobbying at Canada for programming and finance support. She's spoken to Congress in Canada, and she's also done a lot of work to help mentor and support thousands and thousands of change makers around the world in advancing their careers of impact. This podcast and live stream is sponsored by the Rotary Peace Fellowship, which is one of the world's coolest fellowships in the world. They offer 130 fellowships per year for change makers for a full master's fellowship or a postgraduate diploma in peace and security studies. The deadline coming up is in May 15th, so please take a look. We will share the link. We apologize for a little bit of delay. There's always technical challenges. So we're based in Colombia, Catalina and I, and Brenda is currently based in Nigeria. So we ran into some last minute technical challenges. This is streaming to YouTube, my LinkedIn page, and our Twitter page. If you have questions or comments during the session, feel free to post them, and hopefully we can bring some of those comments into the audience. And Brenda, thank you so much for making time to share your wisdom and your experience and for all you do to help change makers. And also I just said, I found you on Twitter and have been following you for years, and when I mentioned to some people we were hosting you for a podcast, particularly from people from West Africa, one of our colleagues, you're almost like a rock star. He's like, I can't wait to hear from Brenda. She's had such a big impact on my life, and we've heard that from many people. So I will start off with the first question is, how in the world did you create this career of impact, like this unique pathway you've carved out?
Beautiful question. So I've been doing this meaningful work for over 10 years now, but it all started when I came to Canada as an international student on a full ride scholarship. And students were always looking for bursaries. They were always looking for financial aid to pay tuition fee, to buy textbooks. And a lot of people were also looking for opportunities for leadership development, career development. And as someone who is very resourceful, I love to surf the internet. I love asking questions. I love knocking on doors. I started creating list opportunities to share with friends, colleagues on campus. And then I also started sharing with my church members. And then that way I told myself, Brenda, you don't have to box yourself to one career path. So many things you can do. You can explore a world of possibilities, and I can do knowledge mobilization, which is something I'm very about. I can teach, or I can facilitate training and workshop. I can also help people discover themselves because I have a background in psychology. So that's why I started the work that I'm doing, and I'm enjoying it right now.
Thank you so much, Brenda. And what you said, I feel like I resonate with your story because, like you, I went from Colombia to Spain and from Spain to the United States. You talked about being resourceful. So I taught salsa dancing, not salsa making. That's for Mexican. That's that other salsa. But I also became an interpreter without having any training. And I interpreted in several events, kind of embarrassed. And I also worked as a community liaison with the Central American community, kind of applying some of my skills. So I did it in a different world, but I think you're a much cooler version of you. And I say hi to all the brave women and men from the Global South that are
Thank you.
rocking the world. And this phone call is like a dream for me, or this podcast, if you are listening to the audio, because it's Medellin and Nigeria connected, talking to the rest of the world. And I
Right.
think this is where knowledge and creativity is going to come from. And I did have a set of instructions. It's just that I never listened to Craig. And by the way, this guy is my husband, if you didn't know, so that's why.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
we met in grad school. And those of you who have been listening to the podcast and everything know we met in grad school. I was a Colombian living in
Wow.
the East Coast in the U.S. And that's how I can afford not to listen to him for the past 20 years. But you're creating something new. You're creating a career. You're using your skills, and you have a following. You are a positive role model in this world. And for those people that said, "Damn, I want to do good," but I wanna pay rent. I have obligations. What are the areas of growth that you see? Some people are like asking you, Brenda, where can I go and look for a job so that I can do good, but also can make some living? What are those areas that you see are trending right now?
Thank you for asking. So there are so many areas of growth and opportunities for everyone out there. And what I love to tell people is start with a self-assessment, because in as much as opportunities are out there, activities are out there, programs are out there, you need to know yourself. You need to understand yourself. What do you love? What do you want to do? What career path do you want to create for yourself and build for yourself? So I always start with that. Do the self-assessment is very, very important. The next thing you need to do is look at your environment and start asking the question, what is the industry trend? Because now I know myself, I understand my skills, the industry knowledge that I already have, my experiences. Is there a market for all the things that I possess? What does the
Yeah.
trend say? So ask yourself these questions. And the next thing is mentoring. I keep talking about mentoring. I know on my Twitter and LinkedIn, I've also pointed out the dark side of mentoring when mentoring goes wrong. But I cannot deny the fact that mentoring, positive mentoring, can change anyone's career, can change your life. So look out for those who have been there, done that. People who have been there, they've done what you're currently passionate about, or what the career path you want to go into. Look for people who have done something great, people who have accomplished a lot of successful things in that career, and ask them questions, make them your friends. But then you
Mhm.
cannot dig your well without knowing why you're digging that well in the first place. So before you're thirsty, you need to dig your well. And what do I mean by that? Look within you and ask yourself, what value can I bring to the table? What value can I contribute to this organization or group of persons that I want to join? What value can I bring to my mentor? What value can I even bring to the person who is going to coach me? Ask yourself that question. It's very, very critical. The third thing you need to also understand is that when it comes to opportunities for growth, especially for career development and career advancement, you need to start asking yourself, what do I feel? What do I think? What am I seeing? And what am I hearing? So, a lot of you who have done business and entrepreneurship training, you must have heard the concept of empathy map. You need to do an empathy map for yourself and also use yourself as a customer persona. For every career
Mm.
you want to carve for yourself, create a persona, and that persona is you. What do I want to accomplish? What am I good at? What do I love to do? What does the market need? And what will I get paid for? These are the four critical things: self assessment, scanning your environment to gain more career information and understanding the trend analysis, and also seeking out for mentoring. And the last thing, like I said, do an empathy map and create a customer persona for yourself.
Thank you so much, Brenda. And again, please feel free to put your comments in LinkedIn and we'll show them and bring them in, or questions. So 2 follow-up questions. You talked about the potential dark side of mentoring. So we'd love to hear a little bit more. Does that mean like don't put your mentor on a pedestal because everybody can fail? And then the second question, we see this a lot, is how do people actually understand the market dynamics? Because many times people are like, oh, I want to do X, like that's my passion, or I have skills at that, but they don't understand the competitive nature of actually trying to get paid in that sector. So how do you, let's say whether someone's good at finance or art or theater or agricultural development, how do they figure out if the skills they have, there's actually a way to make money doing that?
Okay, beautiful question. So the first question that I mentioned about the dark side of mentoring, what I mean is don't place anyone on a pedestal because we are all humans, right? And the second thing regarding that statement is the fact that you have to understand what kind of value aligns with the person you're trying to call or seek as a mentor. Because sometimes it's not just about, hey, this person is successful in this career and that I want to get in. You need to understand what are the core values of this mentor that I want to get mentoring or mentorship from. Does this person respect the fact that I'm a younger person or I'm less knowledgeable than them, and they're going to treat me with regard, with dignity and empathy because I'm in a learning process or in a learning journey. So you need to ask that question. And one thing you also need to check out is mentoring is not just someone telling you what to do. They should be able to guide you and listen to you first. That's what I've been able to do over the past years. People come to me for career coaching or vocational psychology needs. I don't tell them what to do. Rather, we sit down and talk about their skills, talk about their previous experience in terms of internship, volunteer, community service, work experience, paid and unpaid. And then from there, we put it like a canvas, and then I start asking them questions. What do you think about this? How have you solved this problem in the past? And why do you want to follow this pathway as a career? So you don't want to go to someone who is just giving you orders and instruction and just telling you what to do without giving you that autonomy to make decisions for yourself. For the second question, my response is quite personal, but I think it applies to a lot of people out there because this is something that I've done with people in the past. I always tell people that you have to do a skills audit or a skills assessment. So sit yourself, ask yourself, what are my core technical skills? What are my soft skills? Or a lot of people call it power skills or people skills right now. What are the technical skills I have? What are the soft or people skills I have? And what are my transferable skills? Your transferable skills can be used in a mix of environments. You can use it for different responsibilities. You can use it for different roles you find yourself. So ask yourself, do I possess XYZ skills? And how can I use this skill to get the job that I want or to create the career path that I want for myself? Another suggestion that I have for those who have a college degree, or even if it's a secondary school degree, go back to transcript. This has worked for me a lot of times, even right now with the work that I do. Go to your school transcript, have a look at all the modules or courses or subjects you took, and begin to reflect, what are those courses I took back in college that I really enjoyed and why did I enjoy them? Then the next question you should ask yourself is, are there job opportunities tied to each of those modules that I really enjoyed while I was in school? The same thing with the skills analysis or skills audits you've done. You ask yourself, so for example, if you're good at financial auditing, facilitating, event planning, there's actually a job title for each of these skills. For event planning, you can get an event planner. For project management, project manager. For facilitating, facilitator. Same thing applies to those courses on your transcript. So by the time you have all of these things, you'll be very amazed to find out that there are over 30 or 40 skills that you have on your skills assessment that can actually get you your next job or jobs. Same thing with the transcript. Oh, I actually passed industrial chemistry. Maybe there's something I can do in industrial chemistry rather than just limiting myself to, oh, I want to become a biochemist. So do this and you will see that there are lots of opportunities for you to explore, and you also see that this world we are currently occupying is a world of possibilities. So look within and ask yourself, what am I bringing to the table in terms of my unique value proposition? What skills do I already possess? And what skills am I interested in learning or improving on? And that will help you carve a career path that is very satisfying.
Thank you, Brendan. I love how I guess your answer points to this famous saying that the answers are closer to you than you may think. It's not just far away, they're right there staring at you. It's just a matter of finding them. But I have my question, but we have a question from the audience. Someone, I know you told us that you don't want to tell us what to do, but some of us want your take, especially with a self-assessment tool. Again, other than with Rotary, we don't have any product placement here or anything, but I think people want what they want. So do you have any self-assessment tool that you recommend with your background of psychology, or how would you go about that question?
Let us know if you can hear us, Brenda. Hopefully, oops, I think we lost Brenda for a minute due to the internet connection. I think she's coming right back.
But I think she will be back.
We lost you for a second, Brenda. I think you
There
just
she
came
is.
right back.
She's back.
Okay, I'm back. Okay, so
All
I
good,
was
all
saying that I'm here. So I created a self-assessment tool. I can share that document with Craig, and anyone who's interested can have access to it, and let me know what you think.
Excellent. Okay, so I have so many screens here. The answer to your question is we're going to send the link with your self-assessment. Thank you so much. I think people are going to love that, including myself. I'm going to take a look and develop it as well. So you have given us a lot of career tips that we love, but do you have any career don'ts that you want to share?
Okay, so I'm going to be very honest here. Something I've always talked about, and I still talk about them during sections like this, is it's not enough to just have a to-do list. It's also okay to have a to-don't list. So what that means is, what are those things you know would prevent you from getting closer to your career goals? Don't do them. Don't do them. So an example I'll give to you, this is something that I always tell myself. Just because somebody is popular on social media doesn't mean they will make a good mentor for you. So keep that in mind. So it's not the number of metrics, vanity metrics, that, like I always say, it's not the number of followers, it's not the number of retweets and likes that people have on their timeline that makes them a better influencer in your career or a better mentor. You need to ask yourself very important question: does this person's personality and their core values and their work ethics align with mine? Do they actually have the value and the substance that I'm looking for, or even the knowledge that will get me closer to the goals that I'm setting for myself? So set to don't list, not just to do list. Another thing is anti-goals. The way you're setting goals. Oh, I want to accomplish this. I want to earn six figure. I want to travel around the world. I want to do ABC in my career. It is also okay to set anti-goals. And what do I mean by anti-goals? You need to start decluttering things on your goal setting list. What are those things or those goals or those activities I shouldn't even think of? I shouldn't even engage in them. What are those type of gathering or association I shouldn't even get involved in, so that I will actually get closer to the dream and the big career goal that I want for myself? So I'll give you an example. Say you're preparing for a job interview. You know you're supposed to study some behavioral questions, right? Ahead of the interview. You can even start asking people who work in that organization questions about the company or the organization. There are things you shouldn't be doing. You can't just go to maybe employees in that organization and start asking them things out of line with the work that the company or the organization does, right? Because people can start interpreting your personality or even who you are, and they can make reports to the hiring manager. So ask yourself, as I'm setting goals for myself in terms of my career and personal development, are there goals I shouldn't also be setting for myself? So those anti-goals and to-don't lists are very, very important for your career development and advancements.
Thank you.
So we have about 10 more minutes, and feel free to put your comments or questions in whatever channel you're watching on. So Bren, one question, there's a saying, and I can never find the original attribution, but that talent is universally distributed, opportunity isn't. And I was on the Zoom call with a friend who lives in Malawi today. And Colombia struggles with youth unemployment. Nigeria and West Africa, it's a big challenge. So two questions. One is, what is your advice for people who want to pursue remote opportunities where maybe they're based in Nigeria, but they work for an organization outside of Nigeria? And two is, where do you see the growth opportunities from youth in West Africa? The ways to just radically increase youth opportunity.
Good question. I know a lot of you have, every day people talk about personal branding. As someone with a background in psychology, I like to talk about personal branding in a very unique way. So don't just build a personal brand and think that you're just a product. Remember, you're human, and that's very important for you to keep in mind. So build your personal brand, but do it with a lot of empathy and kindness for yourself. You're human. Keep that in mind. Don't be afraid to talk about your work. People always say be humble. I know humility has a place, but sometimes in this world, you have to look at yourself and start asking questions. I'm occupying different spaces in the different communities that I find myself. But how do I get people to know that I'm here? Talk about yourself, do it shamelessly. Don't be shy. Do it shamelessly. Talk about the work that you do. Create projects. So a lot of times they tell you take initiatives. You don't have to wait for an employer or a boss or a colleague or even your sibling or spouse to tell you to do something related to your career advancement. Take initiative, create that project. Ask yourself, are there things that I can solve, or are there things that I can actually make or create an impact in my environment, not just at the workplace? Maybe it's something you noticed in your community that needs an urgent attention. What you do to solve that, and then go on your media, talk about the work. If you're still creating, say you're creating about the process, not just the end product or the impact or the income or the impact or outcome you've already made. Talk about the process. Use your social media, blow your trumpet, do it shamelessly. Build your personal brand. Don't be afraid to ask questions, please. A closed mouth is a closed destiny. There's context to that. So what I mean is, when you're seeking opportunities for your personal and career development or your career advancement, don't be afraid to knock on doors that need to be knocked on. Knock on them and ask people questions, and do it politely. Do it politely. Let people know.
We might have lost Bren again. We'll see if she can come back.
It's cool.
Go, keep going.
Oh,
We
I'm
lost you
back.
for a second.
So,
Okay.
so
You're back.
I was saying that when you get into people's personal spaces, ask them questions, do it politely, don't be afraid. Have a beginner's mindset, irrespective of the knowledge you already have or the experiences you already have. Bring yourself down in terms of, I want to learn, I want to know more. That is why I'm here. That's why I'm even sending this email or this message in the first place. Don't keep your mouth closed. Ask people questions. And there's a way you ask questions. People will either show you empathy or people will show you pity. So what I mean is, when you go to someone and say, oh, I've been looking for a job for the past 2 years. I don't know what to do. People are just going to tell you, oh, I feel so sad. I'm sorry. Don't worry. Everything is going to be all right. You don't need pity, right? You need opportunity. So switch the language, how you introduce yourself, how you showcase your skills, how you showcase your personal brand. Hi, my name is Brenda. I'm a learning experience designer with XYZ number of experience, and I have extensive experience in ABC industry or geography or sector. Talk about what you've done and what you're currently doing and what you're interested in doing, and then that will make the person want to connect you to opportunities. So that connects you to opportunity rather than selling sympathy or pity to you. So ask questions, don't be afraid. Knock on doors, don't be afraid. Show your personal brand and the projects you're working on your social media, and do it shamelessly.
So my next question, Brenda, it's following up on maybe even a bit repetitive, but I can tell you really know networking. So what is your philosophy of networking? In especially think about those of us who don't really like networking, maybe because it's culturally a little bit weird, at least to me. So imagine someone like me is like, Brenda, I don't really like to network. What would you say to some of us? I really honestly don't like it that much.
Okay. So I used to be that person. I used to be that person. Uh, um, I don't really like to be out, that I'm very sure of. But I started asking myself that being in my comfort zone for a long time will not actually get me the things that I want for myself in terms of my personal career and even my finance and other aspect of life. So what I started doing was to document. There's power in documentation. So how can you even start documenting things? You can use social media. One of the platforms that I think a lot of people are not utilizing is medium.com. So I'll use myself as an example. I do share opportunities and risks on my Medium, but I haven't done that for quite a long time. But every time I go on Medium and I look at the notification, people are still making of the resources I've shared. Sometimes I do get emails of people telling me got jobs. I don't even know them. I've not met them before from different parts of the world. So document things, and documentation could be in your learns from different experience, work experience, your personal life experience. It could be you documenting the processes involved in projects you're currently working on or something you've done in the past. It could be maybe you took a course on Coursera, on EDX, or any online learning platform, and you feel the need to share that knowledge with someone. Document the failures. You got rejection emails. I do that. Sometimes I go on my Twitter and I tell them, hey, I just got a rejection email. You know what? I'm very upset. I'm going to my kitchen to cook beans. That's the thing I prepare whenever I'm angry or upset. So document things. And when it comes to networking, I think networking shouldn't be forced. It doesn't have to be attending all the career fairs or all the events happening in your community or in town. No, sometimes your networking could just be talking to friends that you're with or colleagues. You're sharing ideas, you're asking questions, what's the way forward, right? And people are coming up with ideas. So this personal learning network, PLN, your personal learning network, you can create, share, assess, analyze, and even mobilize knowledge with other people. And that network, your personal learning network, doesn't have to be large. It can be just two persons. It could be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can keep that circle of learning small, and opportunities are easily shared among your personal learning network. So that's what has worked for me. I don't think you just have to start attending every event in town, all in the name of networking. It's going to be very stressful. So that's it. That's what has worked for me, and I hope it helps someone out there.
Thanks, Brenda. So we have a couple more minutes. 2 comments came in. I'll ask one more question, and Kata may have one more. So
There's
Olga
a question from Jason, sorry.
I know. So Olga just commented she likes to use the term building professional relationships instead of networking, just to think about why, and I would just make a plea. I think the world is in such crisis that none of us, no single person, sector, organization can address any one of these challenges by ourselves. And unless we break down silos and talk to people and just learn how to collaborate, like we have no chance of like addressing climate change or these other challenges. So part of it is also just curiosity. Like, hey, you're doing amazing things. Like I may not know anything about, I've been talking a lot to engineers. I know nothing about engineering, but it's like I learned so much from those interactions. Or urban designers. So even if it's a sector you don't want to work in, you can still learn useful connections and ideas.
Right.
So Jason has a question. Thank you, Brenda, for the insightful sharing. What are some practical tips to maintain your network with multiple people? Also, as an introvert, how do you kind of maintain relationships when maybe being more outgoing can drain your energy?
Okay. Thank you, Jason, for asking. One thing that a lot of people struggle with is follow up. So it's
Mhm.
one thing is to build a network or connection or even a community with other people, but a lot of us struggle to follow up, and these are based on different reasons, maybe personality type. Sometimes people have trauma in the past. So what I do advise is try to analyze or look around that community, that network, and ask yourself, are there people here that I actually appreciate and love their energy? Because you don't have to be friends with everyone, no matter the network or association or group you belong to. You begin to ask yourself these questions and try to get closer to people. But before you get closer, you observe. Are there people here that I love their energy? I like their approach, the way they do things, the way they attend to questions, or the way they solve problems. And once you figure out those people, you can start getting closer, but don't be pushy. Don't make it seem like, oh, I'm just here to take from you, right? That's not what you want, because sometimes a lot of people see networking or relationship building as transactional. Meanwhile, it can actually be transformational first before becoming transactional. So try to get closer to those people. Be open-minded. I know it's not easy, especially when you're an introvert. You still have your core personality and your core values, you hold on to that, but you also have to learn how to extend grace to yourself. So once you start extending grace to yourself, you find it quite easy to open up and start building those meaningful connection with the other people. So that's what have worked for me, and I still do it, because when I came to Canada as an international student, I remember the first time I applied for a volunteer role, I wasn't selected.
We have a
It's okay.
momentary.
She'll be back. She'll be back.
Um, so I can see we have a question just as we're waiting. Gul asked, she has students from different disciplines and needs self-assessments, wondering if there's any suggestions for tools. So while we're
Yeah,
waiting,
we
if
asked
any,
that question.
yes, this is also for students. Hopefully we'll get Brenda back again. Internet connection is always a challenge.
Right, but we almost completed.
Yes. So while we're waiting to see if Brenda comes back, Olga just said, okay, we have Brenda coming back.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
Brenda,
back.
you're back in. We lost you for a second,
Yes,
but go ahead.
I'm back.
Yes.
Hey,
So you were
oh
talking
no,
about kind of,
you're back and you came even better. Before it was fuzzy, so now we can see you so
Okay.
so clear.
you were
Network
talking
is the
about
is the
self grace.
internet the internet connection, yeah.
So you were talking about self grace, and then there's a comment from Olga. So do you have anything else to saying about kind of treating yourself with compassion and grace, and that you applied for a volunteer position in
And you
Canada?
were rejected.
Yeah, so I got rejected after applying for that volunteer opportunity on campus. And what I did, the next thing I did, I looked at the rejection email and I said, Brenda, ask them why you were rejected and if they have feedback. So I did, and I got an email to come into the office, and I went to the office and they told me what I did that made them not select me for the opportunity. And the truth is, it was a group activity. And to be honest, I don't really enjoy group activities. So I was just sitting down and looking at everyone. I wasn't contributing. People were just talking, and doing a lot of things, but I was just sitting down all by myself. So I told them that this is who I am, and I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to adapt. So adaptability is something that everyone needs to keep in mind if you're trying to build a career for yourself, because you come in contact with people from diverse culture, they have different beliefs, they have different personality types, and you need to ask yourself, how do I adapt to this environment? Adapting is not you changing who you are to fit in, but you asking yourself, oh, how can I create that balance between who I am and what I'm bringing to the table with what the world is offering or presenting to me right now. So I told myself adaptability, having a beginner's mindset and a growth mindset is what will help me thrive as a student in Canada. So they looked at me with the way I responded. The two program coordinators said, Brenda, you've actually taught us something right now that yes, everyone has a different leadership style and they have different ways of communicating and interacting with people. We are bringing you on board, and that was actually the beginning of my growth as a professional when I got to Canada. So please don't be afraid to come out of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to tweak things that needs to be changed. Don't be afraid to adapt. Adaptability will take you places. Adaptability will help you break barriers, because sometimes some of the things that we think are not achievable are things that we can actually achieve, but because of our mindset or of the fear we have inside of us, oh, I don't think the world will accept me for who I am. I don't think the world will accommodate people with my personality type. The world will definitely accommodate you because everyone is different and unique, and we're all bringing something special to the table. So give yourself grace. Self-compassion is very important when you're trying to build and sustain connections with other people. If you're not the type who likes to talk, you can exchange emails. You can add friends on your WhatsApp. I do a lot of WhatsApping, Telegram. You can do that if that works for you. Communication doesn't always have to be about talking, talking, talking.
So
Well,
Kathleen, I was going to
Brenda,
ask the last question. Go ahead.
we have learned so much from you, from occupying space shamelessly, which I think is a very powerful for everyone, but especially for women these days, to anti-goals and to don't lists. I can see why you're such a source of strength and beauty and inspiration for all of us in careers of impact. But precisely because of that, and I am a work-life proponent, you've talked about that you like to cook beans at a certain occasions, but what do you do for self-care? I mean, we talk a lot about careers and this and that, but I, as a recovered person with burned out, I talk openly, more so than Craig would like to, about self-care. So what is Brenda's self-care tips that we can learn so that we continue this? Because as Craig said, there is a lot to do as the world is burning up.
Thank you for asking. The only and most powerful self-care tip that I have, that's what I've used, and I hope it helps someone out there, is deprioritization. Deprioritize. You don't have to do everything on your to-do list.
Yeah.
Those two don't list are very important. Anti goals are very important. So deprioritize. There are things that can come down on your list. The things you should eliminate. So I sometimes, if I say deprioritization, sometimes I call it the art of elimination. What are things on my list that I should get rid of? They could be goals you've set for yourself in the past, ambitions, desires, needs, wants, anything. It could be something very personal. It could be something related to your career. It could be anything, even something you eat, you consume every day, the things you wear, the things that are occupying your personal space at home, at your workplace. How do I eliminate? Because every time we attend career training and workshops, people are always telling you, add this to your list, do this, do that. People don't tell you, hey, it is okay to declutter, it is okay to eliminate, it is okay to deprioritize. So this is my main self-care tip. I deprioritize, or I use the art of elimination to get rid of things and
So
reclaim my space.
You're my influencer now. I will follow you till the end of the earth. I
no, but
declare myself a Brenda fan.
Kat is not a big Twitter follower. So Brenda, one final question, then we'll wrap up. What services do you offer for people, either free or that and kind of what's the best way for people to engage with you? And if someone does want to reach out, because you get so many inquiries like we do, like how do you pay attention to how does someone get your attention?
Yes. So please feel very free to send me a message on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. If you tweet at me, I will send you a DM. You can also send me an email, momentswithbren@gmail.com. Anything related to personal development, mental health, and career, or you're looking for resources or job opportunities, please don't be afraid. Like I said, knock on those doors, ask questions. I would definitely respond. And I also do CV reviews or resume review, LinkedIn optimization. I sometimes people from different parts of the world will reach out and say, "Hey, Brenda, this is exactly what I want to do. Do you mind helping me with job search?" So the way that I do that is we work together and we begin to explore what kind of opportunities do you want, long-term, full-time opportunities, part-time contracts, consultancy roles, freelance, remote, and I can create a list of jobs. And be careful, because when you ask me for resources and opportunities, you might get overwhelmed. So you have to tell me, okay, Brenda, it's okay. Thank you.
Okay. Um, so thank you so much. And to wrap up, please follow Brenda. I think Twitter is the best space to follow her, but Medium, LinkedIn, and again, please check out the Rotary Peace Fellowship. And then two other kind of things. One, this will be converted to an episode of the Social Change Career Podcast, also supported by Rotary. So it should be out in June. And there's 100+ episodes with amazing people from all corners of the world sharing their insights. And then on June 16th, we're organizing our second Global Impact Career Pop-Up. So we did one last year where we had about 300 people and raised about $8,000 for COVID relief organizations. This time it's focused on migration and refugee support, and lots of details will be coming. But basically, the cost is you have to make a donation in $1 or more to any organization we recommend or any organization you choose, and show us proof. So you can give $1, $100, we don't care. So more information will be coming. That, and Brenda, I'll send you some information in case you might want to be involved. But it's a really cool way, and it's a small way of us trying to help. We don't get money for it. It's just, and there'll be all sorts of workshops, keynote people, hopefully talking to employers. So Brenda, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your brilliance, and also your patience with internet connections. And it was nice to hear the rooster in the background.
Yes.
And we'll just let people know, which part of Nigeria are you coming from? Is it north, west, south? Where are you in Nigeria right now?
I'm from the south.
Okay.
The Niger Delta.
Okay. And what is, obviously there's a lot of challenges in Niger Delta, but what are 2 or 3 really cool things about the Niger Delta that you'd want people to be aware of?
Oh, so Nigeria is a very multicultural society. We're very diverse. I think we have over 250 languages spoken in Nigeria. Nigeria is also the largest country in Africa, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Or is it largest or most populous country in Africa?
Most populous, I think
And
100.
yes, most populous country in Africa. And we are very intelligent people. Like, that's our bragging rights. We're very intelligent people here in Nigeria, and we make the best meal in the world. Like, nobody can compete with us when it comes to our food. We're very good.
Oh, we should have a food off. And then Pat and I love Bollywood, and obviously people don't know Nigeria has Nollywood. And because of Netflix, you can actually find more and more Nollywood series on Netflix, which is, otherwise it was harder to get access.
Yes.
So thank you so much, and have a
Yes.
wonderful afternoon. And thank you everyone for joining us wherever you were.
You're wonderful,
Yes,
Brenda.
well, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, everyone.
Thank you so much.